working this time.
He told me I wasn't coming right.
The catfish.
There is some important paperwork that we want everybody to do. There's some important paperwork. Can you hear me now? Hello? There's some important paperwork that we really need you to do if you're concerned about citing the landfill. We want you to be sure and sign up the official form that makes you a member, and also authorizes you to vote at the election later on this.
When he goes under, wait, just, no, don't roll it. Don't read it. Don't read it. Let's sit there. When it goes under, then you read it. Jerk it.
Help me.
Yeah, just watch his fork. What's the fork?
My hands. And they got cold now.
Out there now? All right, throw it out. Throw it out. There you go. Now, just now, watch it now. Oh, he's biting. You take it under, and then you jerk it. It's really neat.
I can't. I have to.
What you got your face? Yeah, you good. Let's put the floor on.
I'm not getting it. Gotta be patient.
Tight worm.
Let's see up stuff. Samantha! Hey, Jim!
Probably got another
Oh,
broom. I think I got another broom.
Yeah, if you're using worms, that's what it is. That hit it for you. All right, put it out there and catch you one. We're going to catch one. Hold your hand this time.
No, I got a little baby cat, Papa. Yes!
Close to shore.
It's more than a quarter pound. Here you go, Papa. You're dirty.
Oh.
I'll play with those fish. Oh well, he's dead. Yank it out. Bring some pliers and that. I ain't messing with those fish. God dang.
You need some needles. Go down in there and yank that. Hook up. I bet. Hook up.
Come here. Come here. Grandpa. Grandpa. Samantha.
don't put it on good enough for keep it from rubbing.
Stop. No, we'll cut that off when we get home.
He's back. He's taking.
You got a hook I can borrow, Jeff?
Huh?
It's smaller than I just want to
Here. Let me.
Come here. You didn't see that airborne fish morning? Airborne fish. He's gonna die. Just like those, just bigger.
Watch it. It's still, watch it.
Well, when it goes under, you jerk and reel it in.
Yeah, you got to dig through them. I'm digging down in there with a black.
When it goes under, you jerk.
Black.
Right.
Shut up.
Right.
I'm back to where yes.
Yeah, don't swim for the day, you're about to have one.
It's your funeral, Papa. I know to watch out for the leg trick now. I've done near lost my left leg.
Follows it in.
Daggone, mine was actually bigger than Jeff's.
Come here. Come here.
Jeff, mine was actually bigger than yours. Let's throw him way over there. That must be the one I caught then. Because I just broke the string and threw him back in.
I got me a big piece of liver.
He'll do the same thing. Let me check your weight. You ain't got to go into it. You got flossing mouth and you.
Anybody knows anything about overeating, it's Papa.
Now we're going to go drink.
I'm not the one to make Shamu look like a tooth.
You want me to put it out there a long ways for you?
Jimmy Jeff.
Watch your head.
It's Papa for the 5th time. I just put it on there. You the one that hooked it on.
Look out, y'all. I just got a whale. Pulled off my line.
Great fish, you're gonna love it.
Some little ones like that. And lo and behold, on the last day, Meredith stopped to find. She said, "You catch my dog." And she was really so surprised.
Okay, bear with us, be a few minutes more. We're getting all the food on the table. You need to buy a meal ticket, what we're going to do, from Debbie Hembry over by the white tent. And we'll be collecting those. And we're setting up now. We have the roast pork, catfish, a hot dog plate. And if you want to sort of get a combo on the catfish and pork, we might could work that out for you too. Be just a few minutes more here.
Hey, Miss Anderson.
Hey, Matthew, how are you?
Hey, Matt. What did you get? I want to see my big old catfish right there.
Is that it?
There's the fish out there.
Big one,
What y'all think up there?
jerking. How you doing, Bob? I turned it off. I believe it's saving electricity. Yeah, I do. You got
I
some
know,
here,
we
too?
find you over here by the food. It's too hot over here. I don't know how you stand it.
No way to be. You gotta eat. Yeah, I got one. I gotta eat now.
That's tough.
Last chance. Is it tender?
Some of it is. Yeah. We're trying to find one. Okay.
The dog, doesn't he?
Boy, he's getting some good meals in.
Hey,
What's
Bill,
your meal ticket, Danny?
Thank you.
this needs to go. It needs to be covered, and I need another.
There, y'all have got a way to take plates out.
Two more.
Go on. Go on.
Nice paper.
Okay, we'll go show Nana. Wow. Would you like some sweet and iced tea? Or unsweet? Any tea? Okay, how about a cup of iced tea?
There's water up there at the.
That's okay. I'll just take them right.
You want any chips, sir? Sir, how about some sweet and iced tea? Okay, here we go. Did you get a napkin? Okay, well, we're going to grab one for you right here. Okay, there we go. You all set? Okay, you're welcome. Excuse me, I can How about some sweet tea or unsweet? Sweet tea. Okay, there we go. And you've got a napkin?
Don't forget to get a napkin.
Iced tea, sweet and iced tea. There you go, right there. Can we help you with a napkin? Can we help you with a napkin right
That's
there?
okay.
Okay, sweet and iced tea, sir? Okay, good. Want some chips? Okay. Would you like some sweetened iced tea? We have unsweetened over there, but I've got sweetened in hand. Okay, there you go. Can I help you grab a napkin too. You know what we're gonna do? Let's put these down right here, okay? And we'll let them sprinkle the bag. Just turn it so you guys can see. There you go. Let me show you. Just turn it this way. Make this like this. And you just sprinkle a little out. And that's it. You do. I'm gonna help you get that tea. I'm gonna let you be the tea runner.
I'm gonna do without it.
You should. Oh, okay. You done? Anything? You got everything you need? Okay.
Y'all enjoy.
Dad's still down there? Hi, Daddy.
You got everything you need, sir?
You're the one that has the business down here. Orange Piggy. The reason I said that.
Now listen, what kind of door we got? Go ahead, tell what kind of door we got.
Plum. That's one to I wasn't making fun of it, I promise you. When I was looking at, how long have y'all been there?
18 years.
That's what I was going to say. When y'all built that house, that was the house when I was looking at the build. I said, I can't believe you boys. I always still consider that real. Somebody built the big house. I can't believe it. That's not true, though. Well, it's, I'm a looker.
Came back. Too. Right here,
There's some outside people. I like outside.
I like that. Took that in half and I've had it. Oh, yeah, I see. Been here since 5?
This is King Young, he's fire chief over here. Amongst other things.
I saw him come in here, meet up. I said, nobody. At least I come out of the head.
Enjoyed it. Thank you.
How you doing?
Hi, how you doing?
I'm great.
Paul. So you come back.
Daniel, he's taking a picture of your head and the pig's head.
With the pups.
You get to see the fish. They're up under the table. Under the table.
What does Daniel want? Fish?
He wants hot dog. Hot dog or fish?
All right.
Enjoyed the dinner. It's our first try. I know we got a little tied up with the logistics of getting everyone fed, and I think we planned the food a little close there, but hopefully we do this again, we'll have it worked out. The Friends of Ben's Creek, I think most of you know, is a community group. We come together about a year ago to oppose the landfill, and the landfill is proposed to go in the other side of these trees, about 1,000 feet from where you're sitting, and it's actually about 100 feet above you. Land slopes right down. We're incorporated, nonprofit organization. We've had up to 200 members at meetings. We've been opposing this landfill for a year and a half now. And I'd like to say the fellow's no farther along than when he started. We have an agenda that we're going to go through. I'm doing the introduction. Our guests, we hope to have Senator Ty Courtney here and our legislative representative Steve Lanford. They're both out of town. I talked to both of them. They wish they could have been here, and we'll try to have them at the next one. They helped us greatly during the year passing one state law and getting the DHIC regs revised, and they really done a job. We're going to give the status of where we're at right now. We've got some new business. We're going to elect officers for next year, and we're looking for some volunteers for some committees. And from our bylaws, I'd just like to state what our purpose is. We go a little bit, or allowed ourselves a little more latitude than just fighting the landfill. And in our bylaws, it states the purpose of the club is to unite all persons living in the community of Reedville and along Ben's Creek to express our concerns with commercial and industrial development impact to our area of Spartanburg County. I think that's about all I need to say right now. I'm going to turn it over to Bill Geen. He's going to give our status as of right now.
I'm just doing I'd like to recognize a guest organization that has just been newly created, the Friends of Ben's Creek. As John stated, our purpose is to express our concerns, get organized, and work in our best community interests in light of all the residential and commercial development that we have seen and are going to see. I think tonight illustrates how organized we can be sometimes. It gets better, folks. But there's a new organization in Reedville. It's called the Reedville Historical Society. They have a booth up on the hill here. Their purpose of their organization is to preserve the Reedville history. That's the history of the town, the history of the families, preserve some of the buildings in town. They've got high hopes, and they've got a great start. There is a group of board members that have gone out on a limb. They are going to buy the house across from the elementary school next week. They'll close that. They're going to document and archive historical information in that house. It'll be somewhat of a museum and a part-time community center that can be utilized. They're going to quarterly are going to be changing the look of their presentation in the building. It'll for example, each quarter they might bring out and display a particular period in history, maybe a 25-year period where maybe certain generations worked together here to build this community. And then in the next quarter they'll change all that out to the next generation. So they've got a lot to do, and it'll be something new all the time. In their booth up there, they're selling memberships to help support them in this purchase of this home across from the elementary school. It's the white house. I think it originally was built to be the president's house for the Reedville College. So they need some help. They're selling memberships, and I'm not sure what they cost, but it's a nominal fee. They're also selling T-shirts and cakes and desserts. If you're in Reedville and the festival on the 16th, they will have the house open. They may not have it completely renovated, but they'll have another booth out there and probably more information than I'm giving you tonight. So I applaud. I'd like everyone to give Reedville Historical Society a round of applause to congratulate them for their courage. Okay, the next item is Don Rogers is going to speak to you about the landfill fight that we've been in for the last year and a half. He's going to cover a little bit about where we've been, where we are today, and where we think we're going tomorrow. Don?
Hello? You look good from up here. Excusing 2 or 3. How long has it been now since this thing started? Oh, a year and a half almost. Yep. Can you believe it? It's been a long battle, and it's not over yet. But we've got a long ways to go. I'm going to tell you sort of where we stand, but before I do that, let's reminisce a little bit about where we've been. Let me ask you, how many of you were at one of those early hearings, those public hearings over there, where Al Bolin spoke? How many of you were there at those? Al Bolin stood there and almost elegantly and certainly effectively stood in the breach on our behalf. It just made me feel proud to see him. Al would be here tonight, but he's out of the country. But that was the early days. How many were there at that very first meeting over there in Ron Kirby's old cow pasture? How many were at that meeting? Raise your hand. That was the first meeting. I remember Danny Allen. Do you remember Danny Allen came bumping out there in his Mercedes-Benz? Jaguar. Stepped out of that Jaguar, and boy, did he start laying it on us, man. How that man can talk. I don't know if y'all thought about it or not, but a little history was made over there at that time. That was the first time in many years that there'd been any bullshit on that cow pasture. That's right. But no, we like Danny all right, but we have to watch him. You have to keep him in line. How many of you, now this is a rhetorical question. I don't know if you've noticed it or not. We are seeing the beginnings of a community coming together. Do you feel that? Yeah. I do. I have made some friends that I never would have made. We've learned to work together. We've begun to trust each other and depend on each other. That's what a community is. We are becoming a community. How many of you can say that you have been an enthusiastic participant in this struggle? How many of you, how many helped put signs up? These are rhetorical questions. How many helped put signs up? How many contributed money? Did you help at our auction? Were you involved? Did you come to the meetings? Did you write letters? Were you on the communications committee? You ought to be proud. Pat yourself on the back. Thank you. And on behalf of all the unsung heroes and all the work that's been done, let's give ourselves a round of applause. Let's do that. It's not always easy, and it's hard, and we're always unsure of the future, but we just continue to struggle, and that's all we can do. What's our status? I like to start measuring where we are from what I call our darkest hour. That infamous meeting over there in Spartanburg County that we lost, our lawyer came out, we gathered around, we said, okay, now what are we going to do next? He said, in all honesty, I could not accept your money because your case is hopeless. You remember that? I know, he said, every politician, everybody that's involved in the decision, and to a man, they are all in favor of having this landfill, and he said, I will not, in good conscience, take your money. Take your chances at DHEC, he said. Well, we didn't choose to put our fate in the hands of DHEC. We took another route. Since that dark day, I want to announce to you tonight that in the state of South Carolina, due to the efforts that have occurred up here, it is now against the law to have a landfill within 1,000 feet of a residence. Okay? All right. It's also against the law in the county of Spartanburg to have a landfill within 3,000 feet of an aquaculture farm. We also have prevailed upon Spartanburg County to listen, finally, and they've agreed with us that this landfill is a real bad idea. And they have discovered, after a little educational process, that it's in their power to make sure this landfill does not come into this county. And so they understand that if they do not write a letter of consistency with the solid waste management plan of this county, there will be no landfill at this site. Okay? All right. What does that mean? Where do we stand? Well, let me use the words of Winston Churchill. Back in World War II, the Allies lost every battle for a long time, and finally they began to win a few battles. Someone asked Winston Churchill, what's our status? Where do we stand? Churchill said, this is not the end. This is not even the beginning of the end. But it may be the end of the beginning. So maybe that's where we are. I hope in this process you can say, I was involved. I participated. We just didn't stand around and do nothing. And I'm going to predict that in the future, as we hold ourselves together as a unit, we will win in this battle. And we're going to need a lot of help. And in just a few minutes, we're going to be looking for new talent, new energy. We're going to elect officers. We're going to also ask for volunteers for committee membership and get started again for another year. We also have some other significant problems coming over the horizon, which I'm not going to introduce, but will come just in a few minutes from someone else. I'm going to close, though, if I could, with some words from President Reagan. You know, we're in a different climate today. You notice things are changing in Washington. They're changing in Columbia. Our nation, for the first time, is involved in the basic questions of what is going to be the nature of government, what is going to be the scope and power of government. Where will sovereignty actually lie? Will it be in Washington or at home? And we, in our small way, are going to be in that argument. Ronald Reagan, in his last official words to the people of the United States in his farewell address, he said, all of my political life, I have spoken of the shining city on a hill. That's a term that an early settler used to describe America. Ronald Reagan's words. I don't think I have ever described what I saw when I used that term. But he said, I saw a city tall and proud, standing on a rock, stronger than the ocean waves, wind swept and God blessed, and teeming with prosperous people living in harmony and peace. But more than that, after 200 years, she still stands tall and proud. Her glow still holds steady, no matter what the storm. That's how I saw her then and see her still. And so, after 8 years, on this winter night, how stands this city on the hill? More prosperous, more secure, and happier. And now, as I step out onto the city streets, I have some final words for the men and women of the Reagan Revolution. The men and women who for 8 years did the work that brought America back. My friends, we did it. We didn't just mark time. We made a difference. We made the city stronger. We made the city freer. And we left it in good hands. Not bad. Not bad at all. God bless you. And God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Okay, Bill, you got to follow that. I'd like to mention Chuck's going to award the prizes to the children from the fishing contest a little later.
Just to finish up on the status of our Friends of Ben's Creek organization, Carolyn Tindick couldn't be here tonight. She's the treasurer. She's done a fine job. She's helped us all through this year and a half. If y'all remember, she was working real hard over at the auction. So I'm gonna give you the stats just verbally here. The Friends of Ben's Creek have deposited $13,374 in the past year and a half, and that's all contributions from our members, from citizens that are concerned, and from our auction income. We spent about $6,400 on legal services. We spent $500 on the hydrology study that has been a major weapon in our court. We spent $315 on signs. Everybody's seen the signs around here. Those signs are actually we put the signs up after we got all these laws passed, just as an expression of our defiance to this county and this Reedville area being run by developers and real estate people. And to be perfectly honest, the word defiance more fits that sign than anything else. There was really nothing that we expected to gain from that sign other than that. The auction costs that we had to spend were $1,530, and I think we pulled in about $4,800 gross. We've spent a little bit on utilities and some miscellaneous expenditures. Our balance in our account today is $4,620. Let me move on to the next item on the agenda. New business. The landfill is old business and present business. Like Don said, it's not going to go away. But if we restrict our organization to just fighting a landfill, that's going to be single-minded. That's not a good view to take. We've got this group of people together. They want to fight for the community interests. So new business to us is, what do you want to do next? Well, I could take suggestions from the floor here, but I think the best thing is we've heard a lot of rumbling, a lot of people talking about annexation. And there's 3 communities around us that want to annex us. And if you don't believe it, I'd like to sell you some land in the swamp down here. The incorporation of Reedville is the question that we want to ask our members tonight. And we have a voting ballot for our members to fill out on the table over here where Debbie is, where it says join FOBC. You'll pick up your voting ballot sheet. There's going to be a referendum number 1 on the bottom of that sheet, and you just answer it yes or no. The question is, do you want FOBC to investigate incorporating Reedville as a city? We believe that Reedville was incorporated. We believe that the old papers still exist, and we believe we have a fighting chance. Otherwise, we wouldn't ask you to do this. So that's going to be the question, yes or no. It's really going to come down to, you want to pay increased taxes to Greer or Duncan or to Reedville. It's going to be a question of control by somebody that's sitting over there straddling the Spartanburg-Greenville County line, who you really don't know what they're thinking about, or a small town like Duncan or whatever that's going to be annexing little pieces of you and little strings of houses down roads just to extend their tentacles? Or are we going to take matters in our hands? It's really a matter of controlling your own destiny. There'll be some responsibilities. If we go through with it, there'll be some responsibilities that we don't have now. And responsibilities cost money. But you're going to spend some money regardless of what city you get annexed into. So when we get to the nomination of officers, one of the things that we're going to ask you to do is vote on the officers on your ballot form that you pick up over here at the Join FOBC table, and then pay particular attention to referendum number 1. Do you want us to investigate incorporation? It will cost a little bit of money, and we've got a lot to look into. And if anybody wanted to ask some questions about that, I might try fielding a couple of them, but right now there's just nothing but questions, and we've got some ideas. Does anybody want to ask any questions about it now? Anybody feel strong about it? Defense. One word. I'm not a man of many words, but when somebody's trying to walk over on you and they don't have your best interest, then you got to defend yourself. And I can't see that Greer has Reedville's best interest at heart, or Duncan, or Lyman, or Spartanburg. Spartanburg comes real close with their little 5-mile circle. All these towns draw 5-mile radiuses from the edge of their incorporated limits, and you would be surprised when you see it on the map. So again, we're not voting to incorporate Reedville. We're voting to spend some money out of the Treasury to investigate incorporating Reedville. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Okay, we're moving right along. Before we go to the election of officers, I'd like to thank a couple of people. Bill Geen, who stayed up all night single-handedly cooking that hog. Jerry Fortenberry, I helped him seine the fish. He cleaned all of them and done all the cooking. And the numerous volunteers, Debbie Hembry, who made all the tea. I know I forget some. Everybody that served there, it all worked out, and I think we'll do a little bit better job next time. Okay, officers. These were our officers for the past year. I was the president, Don Rogers the vice president, Bill Geen the financial officer, Carolyn Tendick was the treasurer, Gail Fazzone was the secretary, and our officers at large were Al Bolin and Charles Smith. And so they put in a lot of hours. I'd like to recognize them if we could all have a hand for our past officers. What we'd like to do, our term actually ended last month by our bylaws. We couldn't arrange a meeting last month. So all these slots are actually open. Some of the officers I think would serve again. We'd like to get some new blood in this organization. Some new ideas, fresh approaches. The people we have work real well together. No problem. Everybody has one vote. I'd like to open it up. What we're going to do is nominate someone. We're not asking for a volunteer. We're asking for someone to be nominated. Now, I'm going to start with officer at large. That person serves on the board. He has one vote just like everyone else. He expresses his opinion. And I'd like to open it up if there are any nominations for anybody for officer at large.
Bill Chumley.
I have Bill Chumley. There are two of these. Are there any other? Al Bolin? Yeah. Al's out of the country, so he's a perfect choice. I'm pretty sure Al would agree to this.
He said he would.
He said he would? Okay. Are there any other nominations? Okay, we'll go along. Might get out of this, Charles. Officer at large, I'll go up to secretary. Do we have any nominations for secretary? Who? I've got bad hearing.
Sarah Blanton.
Sarah Blanchard.
Blanton.
Sarah Blanton.
Sarah Blanton.
Let me tell you, you'll actually enjoy this. It's very interesting work. There's some weeks when meetings are coming up that you'll put in a few hours. Other than that, it's good. Any other? Debbie Hembry. Yeah. Okay, put that down. Move this one up here. The secretary keeps the records, keeps the membership list, keeps everything in order. Okay, any others? Okay, go next to treasurer. That job keeps the books, keeps the money, keeps everything straight. Carolyn Tendick. I did talk to Carolyn. She said she would be willing to serve another term. Are there any other nominations? Okay, let's go to financial officer. That's one that looks at the costs and the finances of what we're attempting to do. It's a very important job. Works with the treasurer. Bill Geen. Any others? Okay, Vice President. Again, one vote on the board.
John Campbell.
Very important.
John Campbell.
John Campbell. Okay. Are there any other nominations? Okay, close that. Go to President.
Don Rogers.
Don Rogers. Made too good of a speech, Don.
I take it all back.
Hey, you should have stopped before that Reagan Revolution. Is there any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate John Campbell for vice president. I mean, for president.
Man can't see.
And, huh?
Can I be in two categories?
Too technical.
Huh?
Okay.
That's called double jeopardy.
Could win them both. This is the slate we have. What we're going to do, we've got a written ballot, and the members go over, and it'll be a check off. Someone's writing the names in, Don. You got them? Okay, Debbie's got them. Okay, that could be Don Rogers, President, John Campbell, Vice President, Bill Geen, Financial Officer, Carolyn Tendick, treasurer, Sarah Blanton and Debbie Hembry at the secretary position, officers at large, Al Bolins, Bill Chumney. So really the only contest is the secretary position. The ballots will be over by the table. The members will just go over and check them off.
They only got to vote on one of them.
Secretary only got to vote on.
That's what I said. So.
Oh, you did? Oh, we were talking. We didn't.
Yeah. Secretary will be the only one that we'll vote on. And it'll take about 15 minutes to compile it, and I'll tell you what happened. Can't close the meeting until we have our vote.
Break time.
Break time? Okay. The members would, if you've signed up for membership, if you would vote on that, we'd really appreciate it. Very good, it carries. Could I have a motion to close the meeting? Seconded? Okay, I close it. Thank you. Thank everybody for coming. Really enjoyed it.